Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. It's July 18, 2024. Great to be with all of you today. My name is Bob Lang, and it's time to work on our daily bites, talking about the markets, what a disaster it was yesterday for some people, what we can look forward to today and going forward into the end of July. So let's talk about what happened here. Obviously, yesterday, huge sell-off in the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq. Which also spilled over a little bit into the Russell 2000, which has been a very, very strong index for the past week or so, certainly since the CPI number was released last Thursday. The S&P 500, though, however, fell sharply, almost 1.75%. The Nasdaq close to 3% down on the day. But, you know, it's not unexpected, right? We've been talking about this, the fact that the market had gotten overbought for quite some time, and it raised some red flags for us and said we had to be on the lookout for it. Now, if you caught yesterday's low, congratulations. It was really just a shot in the dark, right? Because the S&P futures opened down about 40, almost 50 handles, closed near the lows of the session, but and are trying to bounce back here a little bit this morning. But remember something. We have been overbought on the S&P 500 up until yesterday for quite some time. In fact, on the close on Tuesday, we saw the oscillators up huge. I think the Nasdaq oscillators up over 360 on the plus side. I look back, I think it was about the sixth highest level we'd ever seen on the for a reading on the Nasdaq oscillator. So very overbought. Now remember something: overbought is a condition. It's not a trigger to do anything. In other words, it's a signal for us to be aware of, not necessarily something we need to turn around and start shorting the market just because we're overbought, because we'd been overbought for a couple of weeks. And if you tried to short the market or sell the market, you got hammered in the process. So we have to wait for things to turn down. And obviously, you know, when you wait for things to turn down, you tend to be late. But remember something like I always like to say: tops and bottoms are a loser's game. If you're trying to find a bottom or trying to find a top and trade that or invest in that, it's pretty much a loser's game. Try to find the trends. Try to find where the momentum is going. And if the momentum starts turning down, well, we're going to buy puts. If the momentum starts turning right back up after a very poor session like yesterday, well, we're going to buy some calls. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. But we did see some heavy weakness in the semiconductor group. Let's take a look at that chart here for a minute. And as you can see here, the SMH, which is a chart that I highlighted in the Street Pro portfolio weekly roundup last Friday on the 12th of July. You could see that you know, I stressed the fact that last week that we had a really tough day on Thursday, tried to rally back, and we talked about this and this area being difficult for the semiconductors to penetrate. And I did mention that if we got a pullback to say the 255 to 260 range, it might be an area. In fact, you can see where I wrote it up here. Momentum is getting charged up. This is from last week. And a stochastics indicator look ready to go overbought. Pullback perhaps to the 255, 260 area might be enough for dip buyers to add to the SMH. And where do we close in the SMH? Well, right near there. We're 254, right? Slightly below that range. We do see the 50-day moving average coming in at around the 252 level. And if that area holds and we turn right back up again, it would probably be worth taking a bite. Now, earnings out this morning from Taiwan Semi, which is a big name in the semiconductor space, were strong, and he also gave good, strong guidance. This stock got hammered, as you would have expected, yesterday with a lot of the other semiconductor names like NVIDIA, Marvell, Qualcomm, Broadcom, and the like. So it's going to take a little bit of time, right, to get these things moving back again. Yesterday was you could see that the SMH gapped lower and closed at the lows of the day. So it was a watershed moment, right, yesterday. But it can be rehabilitated. It can be fixed. It can be turned around. But it's just going to take a little bit of time. So if you want to jump in there and take a stab at this one right now. In my opinion, I think it's a little bit too early for that. I don't think you really need to take risk at this point in time. It's not a low risk entry point on this chart right now. It's close to it, but you've got to wait and see if this low from yesterday holds 254, especially that 50-day moving average at 252. So, my suggestion, and we're not really not oversold either. Take a look at this RSI. We're only at 42%. If we were down to this level here in the 30% range on RSI, I'd say, yeah, you know what, I might want to take a little bite of that apple and take a look at adding a little bit of exposure to the semiconductors. But as of this point, I would shy away from that right now. As we said, yesterday's action was ugly. S&P 500 down over 75 handles on the day, and again the Nasdaq over 600 points, close to 3%. We did see some very poor action from some of those Mag 7 stocks like Tesla. Also, Apple was down quite heavy. So was Amazon, which broke 190 yesterday. Alphabet was down. Nvidia was down a lot yesterday. It's trying to rally back a little bit this morning. Meta was down strong. It's also trying to rally back a little bit this morning too. So we'll have a lot of good stuff going on. I'm seeing some good strength today. And actually yesterday there was some pretty good strength in Square. Let's go back to that chart here. SQ is the symbol on that one. And you can see it's not a pretty looking chart. In fact, until it gets back up into the 80s, it's really not anything you want to get too serious about. However, if it can break through some of this congestion from back in May, right? And we had this big, huge bar that when the stock reported earnings, it went way up and then it came right back, fell right back down again. A lot of congestion right here, which congestion means a lot of buyers and sellers are in the same spot, right? So if we can break through this level, let's call it 74, or on a close, and then maybe get a second close above there, I think it's good to go, and it's got some run up to the up into the 80s. But for now, it's just a kind of a wait and see. Keep your eye on it, and if you want, put in an alert at that level 74, and watch it, see if it moves past here for a couple of days. The reason why I bring that up, it is up about 40 this morning on some pretty good turnover so far. Abbott Labs came out with some earnings this morning, which were pretty good. Domino's, on the other hand, not doing so great here. The cardboard pizza company down sharply, down 11% over here. And we've seen a lot of weakness in some of these restaurant names. Obviously McDonald's has been leading them all down. Jack in the Box has been weak. Chipotle, not as great as you would think, even after that 50-to-1 stock split. And then now we're seeing some weakness in Domino's. So we did see yesterday that Darden is buying Chewy. Unfortunately, not the Chewy that I own, which is the Chewy, the dog food company. Chewy Holdings, which is a Mexican outlet for burritos and tacos and that sort of stuff. So it's another added piece to their portfolio. I also want to show you another chart here of the let's look at the Lam Research. So this is one I put in our chat room, and I also put out on Twitter earlier this morning. And you can see that, again, this is a stock that got hit along with all the other semiconductor names. But what caught my eye here was the fact that this stock came down for the fourth time to the 100-day moving average. This is gold line right here, 100-day moving average. And 3 times prior, it held pretty firm. So I'm looking for a fourth time. Now, I'm a pattern follower, right? I look for patterns to repeat themselves. So you know what? I mean, a fourth time over here, that's a pretty good pattern to follow. If you think that this stock is going to move back up, which I think it will. So this creates what's called a low risk entry point. What is low risk entry point? It's an area where you have very little risk of losing money if the stock goes down, because you'll know you're wrong right away, and you can just pull the plug and close your position out. And if it starts climbing up, you can just trail your stop, or else just watch it move right back to the old highs, which it did before, because it's still in an uptrend of higher highs and higher lows So I do like Lam Research. Don't forget, later on this year, they're going to be splitting their stock 10 for 1. Stock's $967. Options are always really rather expensive. It's got a lot of implied volatility. Earnings coming out in a couple of weeks, so you can expect these options to be expensive up until earnings come out. But it is a $900 stock too, so there's always going to be some higher dollar options with this one. You're not going to find $2 or $3 options on a $900 stock. You're going to find $25, $30, $40 options on a stock at this price. So I think it's going to be it. You know, we saw some good strength in some of the retail yesterday. Retail names, some of the banks were rather strong. United Airlines came out with poor earnings last night. Later on tonight, after the close, we're going to be hearing from PPG, Pittsburgh Plate and Glass, industrial name. Also going to hear from Intuitive Surgical, a parts name for medical devices. Netflix will also be reporting after the close. I'm going to shy away from playing Netflix this time around. I've had some success for that one in the past, but I think I'm going to pass on this one. American Express tomorrow morning. Schlumberger SLB will also be reporting earnings, along with Halliburton. Travelers, which is a Dow Industrial stock. The Dow Industrials, surprisingly, was very, very strong yesterday, right? So Russell 2000 was decent, but the Dow Industrials up almost 0.5% yesterday, when the other indices like the Nasdaq and the S&P 500 were just getting shellacked. So I do like Travelers tomorrow morning. Don't have a position yet on that one, but I'll be watching that one. So quick reminder to everybody, we have a webinar coming up later on today. It's at 4:30 p.m. It's called the mental side of trading. So we're going to talk about how to deal with the mental side of trading. It's an interesting topic. I haven't done this one before, so I've got some new stuff to share with you. Give you some techniques and some skills on how to master your mind when it comes to trading in the markets. It can be a boring place sometimes. It could be in a thrilling place at other times. So you always have to manage your psychology, not only manage your risk, but also manage your mind. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. That's at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time, right after the close. So please look for that. It's out on Twitter. It's out on a lot of other social media places. In the chat room, I put the link in there already. Please sign up. It's free. And we're just talking about the markets early on, and then we're going to talk about the topic later on. It's a stress-free hour. I hope you guys get to learn something from it as well too. So I think it's going to be it, everyone. Have a great day, and thank you so much for sharing the Daily Bites on social media with me. And I hope to see you guys all a little bit later on today in the webinar. If you're in the chat room, I'll see you guys in a little while. We start training in about 45 minutes, and I look forward to spending a little bit of time with all of you later on today. If you're not in the chat room, why not? You should be there. Go to the website, explosiveoptions.net, and sign up. I'll see you guys all on Monday morning. Take care. Have a great weekend, and stay cool. Thanks. Just can't make it.